Today on Heinz Barbecue, we're talking about stack extensions for offset smokers and why these things are so important, or at least why I think they're important. A couple of the main reasons is it's going to help your fire burn a lot better. You'll have a lot more control over the type of heat and the type of smoke you produce, and a couple more really important things I can't wait to show you. So stack extensions. What does a stack extension do? Why would you want one? How is it beneficial to someone who's got an offset cooker? So the biggest reason why I wanted to make this video is because we got so many comments about what is it, how does it work, why would I use one? And I just didn't realize there were that many people out there that had that question, so we figured we would make a video on this. This is for a 5-inch stack. So behind me we have got the Char-Griller Professional Series. This is the XD Series. This has a 5-inch stack on it, and I really do like that because it has a lot of airflow and it can get stuff moving through the smoker a lot better than the 3-inch stack on some of the smaller models. The other one that I know that has this is the Old Country, also carries 5-inch stacks, and for what we've made here, it works on both smokers with very minimal modification. So the biggest reason behind why we made this is because on our smoker behind us, it doesn't draw good enough, for my opinion. And what I'm saying is it's not pulling the air through the firebox and keeping the fire ignited to get a good enough burn and to produce the type of smoke that you may want. If you want to control your smoke or control your heat, the stack extension will help in that in a lot better way. Another neat feature about this is it's not hard to make. So where I sourced all of these products from is kind of hilarious. So if you go to any kind of like large truck shop, is going to have this, because all this is 5-inch exhaust pipe. And then the bottom part of this is just a 5-inch coupler. That's all it is. And then this right here is just some stuff that we made up, just a little piece of metal on the top of it, and then just a circle that we got pressed out of some, I think it's this 18 gauge steel. So drilled a hole in it, and then we welded a bolt in the top of it, and then we just got a nut and a bolt on the top of it. And that's it, and that's how everything works as far as your damper opening and closing. So super simple, and it just works out because on the Char-Griller, this slides on the outside of the stack. So if we bring this over here, we can just take it and slide it right on the outside of the stack, and it makes it super easy. For the Old Country, this will slide on the inside of the stack, and there will actually be a spot in the back cut out for the original bolt that's in there, because the head does have to be cut off of that. So that's the way that we've been able to kind of engineer this to get it to work on both sides of this. But back to kind of what we're talking about is draw. So the best way I know to explain this is as this pipe heats up, it's going to start to pull heat out and up. And that's going to cause this to actually start drawing air in through the firebox, pulling across the fire and allowing the air to move much more rapidly through the entire smoker. If this is completely left open, kind of like in this direction right here, what will end up happening is you'll just start running through a lot of wood. So if you're having an issue where you can't get your fire to catch, or you can't get it to stay caught, and you're just kind of getting that white plumy smoke and you're really struggling with that fire, a stack extension will stop that. Because what it's doing is it's starting to draw more air, and it's actually pulling the air all the way through the smoker via the heat that starts to heat up in the pipe. And that heat is rising, and what that does is it creates a kind of a Venturi effect where it starts to pull everything up. That's the best way I know how to explain it. But we're going to do a kind of a quick demonstration on it, what it looks like when you're running this with the stack extension and without the stack extension. I know this was a big problem when I first started barbecuing, especially on the smaller offsets. On our big offset, we don't have that problem because we have a 9-foot stack on it that's made out of Schedule 40 8-inch pipe, and when that thing heats up, it's really hard to get it to stop. But with the smaller smokers, I think stack extensions are a huge benefit. By sliding one of these guys on there, you can just get a lot more fine tuning out of the cooker. So without one, you may be really struggling to get the fire to burn. You can't produce the type of smoke you want. You start getting kind of that sooty smoke, and it kind of disflavors your food, and you're getting really frustrated, and you're like, what's wrong with this thing? And it's mainly because the math that's in this just doesn't work very well when they cut the stacks on them and different things like that. So the stack extension is what really solves that problem. So let's jump over here, get a fire built, show you what we're talking about. All right, so we're gonna run hickory per usual. This is about the size splits we're using. You can see these in diameter. So they're about 6 to 8 inches and about 1 inch across and 1 inch thick. So I like to build the log cabin style, which we'll show you right here. So it's pretty much just taking 6 of these guys. I'm gonna lay them down in here. And depending on what type of firebox you got, we've got one that's got a top door and a bottom door. We're gonna lay our 2 biggest logs down on the bottom. And then we're gonna stack our other ones in between to give us a little log cabin. And this fire felt is just, does not love me. So let's get a better look at this. All right, so as you can see, we've got this big air gap right here in the middle. This is the way I like to build ours, and we're gonna tighten this up just a little bit. Just by pulling these bigger logs in. Just a little bit there in the center. And we'll spread these guys back out at the top. And that's kind of a perfect log cabin. We're gonna put our burner in right here, and it's gonna just get everything lit up pretty well. We'll get the fire started, kind of show you what it looks like without the stack extension, then we'll put the stack extension on and you can see everything else. All right, so this is the most useful way that I've seen to light this off. We've just got a big weed burner in here, and we can set it right on the top of a propane tank. I know it's probably the safest thing in the world. We'll get everything turned on here. And I just use a little sparker to get that going there. And then typically I'll take my sparker and just lay it under that. And then that will light this off. We'll adjust it down a little bit so we get the flame right there in the center. We'll let this burn. This doesn't take very long, just a few minutes, because it's got a high BTU on it. So probably about 4 or 5 minutes like this, and this thing will be lit. All right, so we got a fire up and running, going pretty good. We're gonna go ahead and shut the box down, and we've got the pipe completely wide open because there is no damper on it anymore since we took the damper off to install the new stack extension. But this will kind of give you an idea of what it looks like when with running one without and running it with. So get everything shut down here, and with my offset, we close our door probably somewhere about right there, in between 1.5 inches and 1/2 inch, without the stack extension being on. When I put the stack extension on, I've got to close the door down a lot more because it draws so much harder. And it'll just sit there and just chew through wood if not. So see if I can get a good angle here. So yeah, so we got something here where you can kind of see it. And we've got some pretty decent smoke coming out of there. And our temperature's starting to pick up a little bit. We're at like $1.50 here. Yeah, so pretty decent smoke. So that's kind of like a standard run there. And we'll just kind of let this sit here and run a little bit. And you'll see is that as we continue forward, that smoke will get whiter and whiter. And it has a hard time building heat. It has a little bit of a hard time controlling the temperature, and just the overall burn of it is just a lot harder to contest with. And we'll get a look inside the, I'm just going to kind of hand this thing, kind of inside of here. You know, our fire is going, but it's going kind of weak though. It's not a terrible fire by any means. But, and see, we're getting a lot of backdraft coming out of that. And just a lot of really uncontrolled smoke there. So, and you can start to smell it, it's just getting kind of crummy. So, we'll close this guy up a little bit because we want to make it a fair test here. And we'll kind of watch it a little more here. Put everything back in the camera holder. So, and you know, We've even cracked the box open a little more, try to get a little more air in there. So, but if I continue letting it go this way, the fire's just going to go out. So I'm going to go ahead and throw the stack extension on, and you can clearly see how well this works. Oh, I'll have to make a little adjustment here. It's a lot taller than I thought it was. So, there we go. And you'll actually watch the fire will start to pick up over here in the box almost immediately. But this smoke will turn clear probably within 2 minutes. And it will just pull and start burning through wood. So if you're having an issue with a fire that just won't light or won't catch, it's not you. It's probably the way the smoker's laid out, and it just needs a little bit of a longer stack. But we've got pretty decent heat coming across the top of it. Our temperature's moved. We're about 160. So, and we'll start to watch this temperature come up and up and up, kind of as this thing does its job. And it's just, to me, it's just one of the greatest things that you could put on a smoker, especially if fire management is not a thing that you really grasp and know a lot about. It's not a tremendous amount about it, but it definitely helps if you do know. So, I want to take a look at our fire, kind of see what we're looking like on that. So yeah, so you can actually see it. It's a much, much better fire in there now. And you can actually see it pulling the smoke through. And there's not much of a backdraft coming out of this anymore. It's literally just pulling all that smoke straight up through the stack and through the smoker. So we can shut the door down about something like that. It's about what I'm running this guy at. And I can't leave it there for too long, because it'll get really hot. It tells you how efficiently it causes the burn to happen. So, and you can tell we're starting to clear up now. And you can just see the massive amount of heat that's coming out of that stack. And the nice thing is, when you've got this much heat coming in, you can start to pull your stack back and control your temperature more. You can control the type of smoke you want to produce. So if we shut this stack down more, we're going to get heavier smoke starting on this food. So it gives you a lot more control over the type and amount of smoke that you produce. But for right now, we're just going to leave that guy kind of open him all the way up. So that way we can just kind of demonstrate, how well I think the stack extension works for, the dynamics of a smoker, and getting that fire to burn a lot more efficiently and just having a lot more control over it. So, yeah. All right, guys, so we're at about 4 minutes right now, and I don't want to drag this out too long. But as you can see, like, we have pretty much no smoke. We were burning completely clean. We've picked up almost 75 degrees in temperature, and the only thing we put on was the stack extension and just left it completely wide open. So if you've got that problem, if you're really struggling with fire management, putting a stack extension on will really help. The neat thing is, if you've got a 3-inch stack on yours, you can run down to your local auto parts store, and they've got 3-inch tubes there that are about 18 inches long. Slide one of those things over it. Do whatever you got to do to get the pipe to fit on there. Most of them will just slide over the existing pipe that's on it. And you can put just kind of whatever you want to, any type of little piece of lid or metal or anything to just kind of cover that pipe up. You don't have to put, like a fancy damper like that on there. And you can move it around until that thing runs exactly where you want it to, and you get the type of smoke and the type of heat without all the convection. So that's another big thing about being able to cut this down. So if we turn this all the way down and we start to change the type of smoke that we're getting, so we'll have a much heavier smoke inside of there, which is going to lead to more flavorful food. The other thing that you're cutting down when you're closing that damper down, you're cutting down convection, which is the amount of heat that's moving past the food, and it's taking moisture with it. So if you're drying your food out, because you've got a lot more pull on this, you can manage your heat, you can manage convection, and you can manage the type of smoke. That is the biggest reason why I use the stack extension. It just gives me a lot more control over all three of those characteristics. So, but yeah, if you're looking for the 5-inch version in this, there's a company out there, and I can't remember the name of it, but if you just type it in, stack extension, they do make one that fits it. I think it's like it's either like $120 or $180, and I'm sure shipping that thing's going to cost some pretty serious money. This thing right here, you could probably make one of these if you found the right stuff. You could probably get the stuff off Amazon a lot cheaper if you can find the pipe and the coupling for probably about $50. Like I said, $50 to $60 if you can find the stuff. I had to buy a 10-foot stick of pipe in order to do this. And we've made a couple of these for other people, so it worked out for me to do it that way. But the parts on this are not that expensive, and you don't have to have a weld or anything. You can just slip these guys together, beat them in there with a hammer, and they won't come back apart for the 5-inch version. All right, so there it is. That's our go at the stack extension. I hope this helps. I really do, because I know for the longest time I was really struggling to find an extension for 5-inch. So remember, if you're looking for this, it's going to be at like a transfer truck store, something like it. It deals in like heavy equipment or like 18-wheelers, stuff like that. They'll have 5-inch pipe there. They'll have couplings. They'll have all the stuff you need to make one of these. The bad thing is you'll probably have to buy a 10-foot stick if you don't want to do that. I think they are selling 18-inch sticks or 18-inch pieces on Amazon, and there's a couple other places online that I saw that you could buy them, and you could probably make one of these things for 50, 60 bucks. So, but I hope this really helps you in your barbecuing journey. Like I said, I know this is a giant pain point for me, and now that we figured this out, super happy that we were able to solve this problem once and for all, because it was just really annoying. I'd have to run out here every 15 minutes and fight with this thing, or leave the firebox door open, then it would catch and then it would overheat. This just gives me so much more control, and I really don't have to worry about it anymore. I can go inside for 30 or 45 minutes at a time now once I build the fire in there, and it runs absolutely perfect. So I hope this helps you on your next cook. Leave some comments in there, and just thank you everybody for all the support. We really appreciate it. The channel's grown a lot, and it's all because of you guys. And anything that you want to see or that you've got a question on, feel free to drop it in the comments. Would love to do any type of video that someone really needs some help on, and we're just here to serve as best we can. So until next time, keep them burning.